Hello and welcome to Who Are You? This is the podcast hosted by two former strangers, but now friends, who have gotten to know each other while rewatching a favorite show from their childhood, Babylon 5. I'm Xhafer.
And I'm Laura.
And Laura, you had something you wanted to talk about?
I had a thought last night. I'm currently synthesizing a bunch of information, right?
Yeah.
Like
For school.
yes.
Or is this about something else?
No. This is
Okay.
school is making me synthesize a lot of things, and I'm not able to like partition that out and be like, I am synthesizing only for school. Like my brain like branches out into the other things I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we've been doing in my judgment and decision making course is reading a whole bunch of papers about like experimental accounting research, which sounds like made up.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's basically taking like some psychological experiments and applying them to the accounting setting, right?
Okay.
And the idea is that, the accounting professional is a bit of a specific kind of person. So let's take these like psychological concepts and apply them to that professional setting and see like, does the concept hold? Is there something that's mediating it, changing it? Like, is the
Okay.
professional different or does it react to standard human things sometimes? So one of the papers that I read recently was very interesting, and it was about audit professionals in particular. And so the audit profession is like, you're digging through to make sure somebody's numbers are right, basically,
Yeah.
generally.
Actually, I spend a lot of my day working with audit teams.
Yeah.
I
So
make reports for audit teams.
that's a
It's
very
part of
generalized description for the lay person in the audience. But one of the things that this paper studied about auditors was, does the order of that the information is presented to you affect the outcome of your decision?
Okay.
So
I see where this is going.
so I got to thinking as we were watching Crusade last night that there is no good order presentation of this show. Like there is no agreed upon, this is the way to watch Crusade.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, does that concept like sort of apply, and that like, there's not going to be a good perception of Crusade because there's no right way to watch the damn thing.
So, in other things bleeding over into other things.
Love it.
I have just started listening to a podcast called, God, what was it? I'd like to stop watching Fight Club. And it's comedian Jacob Wysocki, who's part of the Dropout crew. And he watches Fight Club for 72 hours straight and watches it with different people every time.
Okay.
He like lined up a bunch of people and like records episode of the podcast as this is going. And it's like, one, it's a descent into madness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also it's like people experiencing him at different times of this process. And also watching the same thing over and over and over again. And I thought, man, if I was like a sadist.
I see where this is going.
I think it'd be interesting to do like 4 or 5 Crusade rewatches in a row in all of these different orders. See if anything makes it make sense.
And record your own descent into madness.
See, and this is why we're not doing that.
Yeah. That's a psychological
I didn't even have
experiment.
to propose it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So for psychological experiments these days, you have to pass like a review board before you can do your experiment to make sure that it's not like harmful. Not sure that one's going to pass, Xhafer.
I don't think that one would pass. No. I don't think any accredited board would, in their right mind, allow someone to do that to themselves.
Right. Ugh. So
See if a rat survives it first, and then maybe we can move on to human testing.
Yeah. No, Fight Club, that's an interesting one to choose. I think I've watched the movie maybe once. I did read the book, but I don't remember there being like a lot of significant difference between the book and the movie.
I have not read the book.
Yeah. It's whatever.
I have not read any Chuck Palahniuk.
Palahniuk? Yeah, I'm not sure how you say it.
I've
read a couple of his.
I'm pulling it from the ether. I don't even know how it's spelled. I've not read any of his work because everyone I know that was really into his work was like, you know how sometimes someone tells you their favorite book and you can get an idea of what kind of person they are?
Yeah. Ayn Rand.
Yeah. Anyone whose favorite book was Chuck whatever, P whatever, was not someone I was interested in being.
Yeah. I think a lot of people totally miss the point. We're gonna call him Chucky P. Of Chucky P's
Chucky
work.
P.
Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who, like, really loved Fight Club, it also just, like, went right over.
They didn't catch that it was satire.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
Yeah, and that actually, like, he's bad.
Like people who unironically love the Starship Troopers movie without realizing that it's anti-war propaganda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Or people who are really into Warhammer 40K without realizing that it's a critique of how terrible fascism is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what perception you would get of somebody who's, like, a fan of Crusade, because I don't know that that person exists. I don't know that I've ever heard someone be like, "Man, that show was robbed."
I mean, I think anyone who feels this show was robbed is dreaming of better Babylon 5, it coming into its own and getting a chance.
Mhm.
A lot of I think it's a lot of the same stuff with the people who are really into Firefly.
Yeah.
Where it's all like, you don't necessarily miss what Firefly was, you miss what Firefly could have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot easier for a show to be great when it only exists in your mind than it is when it actually is out.
Right. That show also was only, like, 13 episodes, wasn't it, that made it out into the world?
I think it's even less. I think it was like 8.
Yeah. It wasn't
I don't
many.
remember. It wasn't a lot. Yeah. I mean, it got done dirty, but also, Joss Whedon is a scumbag, so.
Yeah, I mean, now that we know what we know about its creator, I'm like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough.
Mhm.
Don't have heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. A bunch of stuff just came out about Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, I
Like
saw
more
that.
stuff
And
recently.
someone in one of our FOD communities had some personal things to say about that they were affected by. So I was like, well, I give it credence because someone I actually know
I was unaware of that.
has a informed opinion. So
yeah. I mean, I will always side, especially before things are settled. I think it is proper to, if someone is a victim, you believe them until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, it's just like, man, just don't have heroes. You're 100% right. Like, or at the very least, don't meet them. And I think that was a lot easier in the pre-internet age.
Yeah.
I don't think anything with celebrity has changed.
Yeah.
Since the era of, don't meet your heroes, you'll hate it. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you'd meet your hero and they were a scumbag. And now in the age of everyone being able to talk to everyone, they were always all scumbags.
Yep.
It's almost like celebrity is a terrible thing to foist upon someone, not to victimize people who are shitbags and who make victims of other people. But it's not something that humans can deal with particularly well, clearly, given how many, with Dave Grohl, all that stuff just dropped too.
Yep.
It's just like, there is no such thing as a good famous person.
Yeah, it's sort of like the parallel we're seeing with law enforcement is that people just weren't looking because they couldn't look, and now we can all see each other all the time if we want, and you're not behaving.
Yeah. Is it that power corrupts? Is it that people who are able to achieve these things have to have a set of morals that allows them to do that, so they're already shitty people before they become famous? Is it both? I'm sure for some people it's one and for some people it's the other.
There's like a psychology paper there. If I can just apply it to an accounting setting, maybe I have my first year paper.
Right. Some forensic accounting on how terrible people are.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Well, what I don't believe in is this show.
Right.
I hate to say it.
The well of this show is running on for forever.
Yeah.
This is tied on IMDb for the worst episode of the series.
Is it really? Which one is it tied with? I'm very curious.
The next one we're watching.
Oh, no. We didn't feel good about the last one we watched.
We're so close, Laura.
Oh, my.
We're so close. There's 2. This is this one. There's one more. We're done.
Do you think JMS put them in this order, in his preferred order, because he was hoping people would give up before they got here?
That might be the only thing about this viewing order that makes sense.
Serious question. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, there was so much potential. I remember at the end of our last episode, I was like, ooh, Psychor guy coming back. We're going to get some more telepath stuff. What a letdown.
I really have to wonder if what continuity errors this particular viewing error order could have actually resolved.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, it just feels like it's making things worse constantly.
Yeah. Was there a big continuity error in this one? We had some in the
No.
last couple that were like, "Rrr."
And there will be in the next one, because that we had a flashback to this episode like 10 episodes ago for the next one.
Oh.
Because it's them going to Babylon 5 to meet with the Drazi ambassador.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Okie dokie. Well, we open on a Psychor shuttle coming in on Excalibur. And that's kind of exciting. Like, whenever Babylon 5 would open with Psychor, it's like, oh, this is going to be a good episode.
Yeah.
Maybe that ramp up is what the big letdown is. I don't know.
Yeah, we see the Psychor branded shuttle, but learn that this is actually the Bureau of Telepathic Investigation, the BTI. So it is separate. Psychor was disbanded by the Senate.
Right.
And they just kept the logo but changed the background.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we're not going to repaint all these ships. Like, come on.
It's so much work, right? Everyone's already got the pins. Just, send everyone some tin snips and have them cut off the back and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, Matheson fills us in, and Gideon as well, on what's the deal. So he has to be inspected every so often. And I guess his last inspection was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But all free telepaths have to submit to an inquisitor kind of situation to make sure they're not breaking the rules. They get deep scanned to make sure they haven't been scanning others.
We have heard nothing but terrible things about how a deep scan works.
Mm-hmm.
The one time we've seen another telepath get deep scanned in this show, it was one of the most traumatic experiences, directly compared to rape.
Right.
Like, it is terrible. And I don't want to say that, like, I'm not trying to comment on any of the characters here, because I don't think this is a difference of the characters between Talia and Matheson. I don't think Matheson is just so much more resilient than Talia or something. But it's like so not a thing in this episode.
Yeah. He's really stoic about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like he's not pleased about it, and he looks like messed up afterwards. He's not happy about it.
Yeah.
But he's also not. It's not the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's continuity or if it's not as bad of a deep scan. If, like, maybe because, like, Bester's over here running around with his P12 ass, that deep scan hurts more because he's a more powerful telepath than if they had, like, a P6 running around doing this stuff. I don't know if that's how it works, but I am now making excuses for a show that could have had a line that explained it, and that's one of my rules.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, you could believe that Bester is not, like, lubing that up or whatever to make it easier, but still.
Laura.
We can cut that if we need to. Jafar's making a very bad face.
I'll put it in Aaron's hands. Yeah. So the guy coming to do this is Mr. Jones.
They're all Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
That they have anonymity to protect them a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
That's a choice. I get it, but at the same time, it's just like,
I don't
what
know.
purpose does this serve besides being lazy about writing?
Yeah. I don't know. Don't feel good about it. But we cut to Galen bringing his Himalayan salt lamp to the meeting. And
I called it a mood rock.
It reminded me of the egg thing that Dr. Franklin gave the very sick child early on in Babylon 5.
Oh,
remember?
Wouldn't it be funny if that was a technomage device the whole time?
Yeah. What did he call it? He called it like industrial goo or something, just like a
Yeah.
byproduct. But yeah, this one knows the location of the Well of Forever.
Yeah, it puts a projection up of the worst butt plug ever designed. It's actually a hyperspace map to hyperspace Stonehenge.
Yeah. He wants to go there. He thinks there could be some sort of lead or something. It's sort of vague.
There's a thing there.
Yeah.
It's a place of power. There might be a thing there.
Yeah, I was way more distracted by Darina butting in and saying that her people were not comfortable with a list of things, and that included cliffs. And we just saw her scaling a cliff in the last episode where her people were on top of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
The Lost Tribe there didn't get that memo.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there's some babble about what a bad idea this is, but Galen can't go himself. He needs the Excalibur's engines, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Something. It wasn't particularly clear. They said the words.
Right.
Listener. They said words that were in English and should make sense, but it didn't really make sense.
Right.
It's like Galen's ship can navigate there, but it can't traverse the gravity wells despite his ship being faster and more powerful than most other ships despite its size.
Yeah.
And it's just whatever.
There's a lot of talk about like, oh, we want to find out more about Galen's really magic ship. But it's like, okay, so he needed you guys. Why? Like they said something about, yes, that my ship's not strong enough to fight the gravity waves or whatever. But it's like, okay. So is it magic or not? Yeah, they argue.
It's for plot.
Yeah. They argue whether or not they should trust the magic rock and ultimately decide like, okay, we'll trust Galen and do this thing.
Yeah. He says others have found it but never returned to theme.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo, like, how's that possible? knowing what it is at the end of the episode, that's just a lie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
I don't.
People aren't going there to bury themselves. So.
Yeah. And how would you know if they had found it if they never returned? Like, he's just being a cryptic douche.
Yeah. And this theme, man, only one more episode of this theme. I take back everything bad I ever said about season 5, Babylon 5's theme.
Yeah. It's not this.
It's not
There's at least some charm there.
Yeah.
Galen performs his navigational merge to merge the control of his ship with the Excalibur. So he is able to control Excalibur from his own ship.
Yep.
And Gideon and Matheson talk a little bit about, hey, maybe we can figure out some more stuff about his technology just by being hooked up. You know, keep the scans open, that kind of thing.
Yeah, do some plotting.
Yeah. Darina plays poker with Gideon. Xhafer, did you notice more weird cards?
More weird cards. Sure did. At least these are like, this is a standard deck of playing cards, but they're weird shaped.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I recently started playing Bollatro, which is a solitaire poker game.
Oh, okay.
And I want more weird shaped cards than that. I would love a mod that makes them weird shaped cards from various sci-fi games. It'd fit in with the game so well.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do it. She expresses that she mistrusts Galen's premise a little bit. She doesn't think that he's being totally honest.
Yeah.
And she cheats at cards. They have a good laugh.
She cheats so good at cards.
Well, rogue.
Yeah. He's like, I just threw out that card. Fuck you. He checks the pile and it's different cards. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She does ask about Matheson, too. She's a little worried about Mr. Jones as well.
Yeah.
She's very perceptive.
Yeah. Mr. Jones explains why Matheson is under more scrutiny since he's one of the first telepaths to actually have a chance at being a career military person. And we know that is a common dream denied to telepaths in the previous world.
Sure.
We've encountered a number of telepaths who are doing their thing because they weren't allowed to be career military.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do we know if they know about the thing that the Lady of the Bondwater forgave him for?
Oh. if he's getting deep scanned like this,
You would
they
think
might.
they know, right?
Yeah.
I would think that's a good reason to be extra suspicious of Matheson too. I don't
That's a
know.
good
I don't
call.
know. How does that get
Well, they
perceived?
might not
Like,
care.
yeah, like, because Psychor's gone. I don't know. It would have been nice
Yeah,
if that came up, is all I'm
he
saying.
technically saved a bunch of telepaths from getting killed from a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at it from a he knew perspective and you weren't mad at him for not telling Psychor,
Yeah.
he was piloting a shuttle with a bunch of people out of there.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Well, it would have been nice if that had been mentioned at all or alluded to or something.
yeah.
Or like he's like worried about keeping that secret. I don't know.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you've done some passive emotional scans and done these things. So that's a no-no. You're going to get fired now.
Yeah. And he found out about the Well of Forever, which is annoying. Like he's
Yeah.
not supposed to get into the duty related information, but he says, well, I'm here and I'm worried about my own safety. So it's fine.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't take him on this fucking joyride.
Yeah. I think it should have been like, well, we got to wait till Mr. Jones disembarks before we go to the Well of Forever. Like,
Yeah.
that.
Or tell Mr. Jones to fuck off for 2 days.
Yeah.
You're on the most important mission in human history.
Right. Like, I don't know. But yeah, he likes to threaten Matheson here.
Yeah.
Galen goes to see Darina, and he remarks that her quarters are smaller.
Well, it's not that they're smaller. It's that she only shops in the children's section of IKEA. So all of her furniture is smaller.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But she just is straight up. She's like, tell me why you won't tell us what the Well of Forever really is. And of course, he's not able to.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
They talk big serious. He's like, what question unlocks your heart? He says, why? She says, because she's curious. And it turns into this giant variation of who's on first that takes up the rest of the episode. And that's it. So on a scale of 1 to 4 main guns firing, how'd you feel about this one? God, I would be so proud of the bravery of a show to do that.
Yeah.
To literally just do a 30-minute vaudeville bit here at this point of the episode.
I mean,
Can you imagine?
Nobody cares, obviously, at this point in filming or writing. So, like, why not just make it a big bit? Let's do a whole bit.
Just live in the space, man.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Chew the scenery.
So
Matheson had his shitty time during his exam, and they find space jellyfish to commercial.
Yeah. Scanners have picked up these big space jellyfish. I wanted to pay off here. I got one. When we come back from commercial, Iverson is doing his corporate man thing. He wants to send out cams. Gideon's like, these things are barely sentient. And they're attracted to bright, shiny stuff. So turn off the lights, turn off the engines. Let's just float through. But one of the jellyfish, like hyperspace jellyfish, this is not even just like space jellyfish, like grabs a hold of the ship and decides to hump it.
Yeah, it starts humping its leg.
Yeah.
Man, this is way different than in Star Trek where they turn into a space station to help you.
I was like, didn't this happen on an episode of Voyager or something kind of like it? I feel like there was some space thing that was using Voyager to mate. I forget. I don't know. If you remember it, throw it in the Discord.
That sounds right. I think that was an episode of something.
Yeah. It was funny because Owen was actually sitting with us when we watched this Crusade, and I had a good chuckle. They kept it vague enough that I didn't have to explain anything to my son, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, don't want to have that talk yet.
Yeah. Thanks, Crusade. Like, Gideon expresses doubt about this whole course. He's like, what the fuck, man? You just let my ship get like violated. But Darina defends Galen as he's eardropping through his AirPods on the whole thing.
Yeah. Gideon and Galen go on for a while. This is like 5 scenes. It's like 4 or 5 minutes of Gideon being pissed at Galen about taking control of the ship without asking when he tells him it's time to turn around.
Yeah. And Galen's like, actually, no, I'm not going to do that.
It's just go fuck yourself. This is so fucking pointless. This is such a waste of time in this episode.
Yeah. They like get to the coordinates, but there's nothing there. And Galen's like, well, it's probably drifted a little bit. So I'm just going to look around for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like, what happens here has no impact on the rest of this episode because Gideon is pissed about the thing, right? But he's more pissed later about it, not being honest about what it was in the first place. And that completely overrides his being pissed about taking control of the ship.
Yeah.
When he could just be pissed about him not being honest with him in the first place. And that is more emotionally resonating for the character.
And basically at the end also, he's like, well, you're so valuable, I'm going to let it pass this time. And it's like, well, okay, then why are you
fucking
pissed?
care?
Like, I don't get it. Gideon does say, like, after this, the way you've broken my trust, you're going to be alone. And Galen's like, well, not for the first time, and pouts away dramatically. And I'm just like, ugh. I don't need to see two pouty boys being pouty at each other for 5 minutes or whatever, like you said.
Yeah. Mr. Jones talks to Gideon about how Matheson's best isn't good enough, and he calls bullshit.
Yeah. And again, like, Jones doesn't feel that threatening. Like, he's no bester. I'm just like, okay, I don't.
Yeah. Gideon throws in the towel on trying to regain control of the ship. Matheson regrets that his psi abilities make him unable to go into hyperspace because the shielding isn't there. That would prevent it from affecting his mind, which means he's going to accidentally read everyone when he shouldn't. So he can't go into hyperspace alone either because that's dangerous. So he just never gets to experience the thing, it seems.
Yeah, this was a weird thing to shoehorn in there.
We already know that hyperspace enhances psi.
We do.
Know he's not supposed to scan people, right?
Yeah.
And he can't go alone. That makes sense. Now, we break 2 of these 3 rules in 15 minutes.
Yes.
What's the... This entire B plot could be removed from this episode.
Yeah.
And it would change nothing.
Yeah. And it should have been almost 2 separate episodes because then you could maybe make the telepaths more interesting. And I don't know. The Well of Forever is just not interesting at all to me. Like,
it's a B plot. It's a B plot disguised as an A plot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a B plot wearing A plot shoes and it doesn't fit them.
Yeah. Like if this were an episode of Babylon 5, the A plot and the B plot would be reversed. It would be a handful of people from the Department of Psionic Investigation or whatever showing up. They would be more of a problem on the ship. The fact that they were in hyperspace so long would amplify their psychic abilities like they talk about, and that would be the problem. And the stuff with Gideon keeping them in hyperspace would be the B plot.
Yeah.
And way less attention would be paid to it.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
I did not have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, the ending was fine with the Gideon plot or the Galen plot, but
yeah.
Fucking yeah. God, why'd they make their names so similar?
I was thinking the same thing writing notes for this episode. I was like, fuck this. Like, what is your problem, JMS? That, like, he had his Sheridan and Sinclair that was hard in Babylon 5, and now we've got Gideon and I think we have Gideon and Galen because he did not give a shit. Like,
yeah.
I think that's where we're at. But yeah, so
tweet at us, Joe. Tell us why you did this thing. Why you did this terrible, terrible thing to us, two podcasters.
Yeah.
20 years after the show aired.
Yeah.
Why?
So we've got something on Scanners, too commercial. It's the Well of Forever. We find out it has an atmosphere bubble when we get back, and Galen has already disappeared. He's gonzo.
It takes so much time to get to that docking bay where his ship is.
Not if your
ship is wired into the Excalibur already.
Yeah.
They talk about how they can't separate it and all this stuff. And somehow in like 5 seconds, he goes from the bridge to the back of the ship where the docking bay is. He like takes the 2-mile tram, disconnects his ship.
Oh, he didn't take the tram, Xhafer. He's Technomage. He's got like mini transporter or something. Like,
I'm sure. It's just
he only rides the tram when he's wanting to run into somebody on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gideon goes after him, and Eilerson tries to do his whole "I'm coming to" thing and gets ordered to be tossed in the brig if he tries to leave the bridge.
Yeah. Galen lands on the most well-lit industrial club in history.
Yeah.
The fog machines here are really working overtime as Max convinces Matheson to do a little surface scanning to just, let him know what's going on down there.
Uh-huh.
Just helping him out.
All the treasure,
And
man.
is salivating
Yeah.
at the natural resources of this place. And it's like, bro, this all has to be easier to get somewhere else. Literally no other ship can get here. You know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hyperspace, so shit moves.
Right.
Like, it's not even like you can just take the coordinates and send them back to IPX so they can haul this somewhere else.
Yeah. Which is what he does try to do ultimately. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's not going to be.
We know
that
that's
easy.
not how hyperspace works. It's
Yeah.
just like, you're telling me you haven't found a planet made out of solid gold yet?
Yeah. But
shit exists. Just the universe is infinite. You'll fucking find it eventually.
Eilerson is like the British Museum personified. Like, he wants this dead people shit. Like, gotta have it.
Gots to have all this dead people shit.
Yeah. Darina's not fooled though. She's like, see all the gravestones? This is like people's burial tombs,
Mhm.
This is great civilizations or civilization that has died here. Like, let me introduce you to booby traps. Gideon confronts Galen, who
Yep.
tells him about Isabel, who we sort of met, but she was, I couldn't care less. He monologues with terrible CGI in the background that was very distracting for me. And for some reason, she spent her life searching for the well, so when she died, he had to do it to put her to rest there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only reason we're here. We're not actually here for, like, maybe there's some technology here that's useful. Like,
they don't even check.
Nope. They don't even check.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Not even a line of lip service paid to, well, we scan the surface and there doesn't appear to be any technology that could be useful to us.
Yeah. Nope. Why would we do that, Xhafer? Like,
that would imply that you cared.
Yeah.
Max is upset when they turn the ship around to go home, but nobody gives a fuck. Gideon gets Darina to scare Mr. Jones, and it works. And Gideon saves Matheson from Mr. Jones with Darina's assistance.
I'm not sure why this works.
Yeah. I don't
know.
It was like she was shouting into his mind, right?
Yeah. But
that's like the thing that you can't help. They say that all the time.
Yeah. So he's going to blackmail him with that. How? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Mm.
He, besides saving Matheson's job, he also gets his old Psy-Core Ava suit, which I guess does have the psychic shielding.
Oh, is
so
that what it is?
He can go experience. It's Psy-Core labeled, so I would assume so.
Oh. Okay.
Like, the suit itself has all the Psy-Core symbols on it.
Oh. I thought he was just sending him out there, just like, go do it anyway, bro. Like, it's all cool.
Well, that's what he should do. Just tether yourself and you could just be out there alone. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
This is weird. I don't know. I didn't enjoy any of it. So
yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go. Galen's gonna go talk to Gideon in the gym, like bros.
Yep. Just bros being bros. They work their shit out without having to box about it. So I guess that's a blessing.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have had a chuckle at that at least. Gideon's just like on the exercise bike or the elliptical or whatever. And
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Gideon tells him that Galen's importance to the mission weighs out this event. And Galen promises, I'm never going to betray your trust again. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't understand why you did any of this, but
yeah.
Darina confronts Galen about the answers he had promised. He tells her that Eilerson got his answer, which is that there is a place that he cannot have, a thing that he cannot have in this universe.
Yeah.
Gideon didn't hear his answer on the surface. Matheson couldn't get his answer because he didn't go to the surface. And he answers Darina's question by addressing her eavesdropping. So why couldn't Matheson get an answer? Because Eilerson didn't go to the surface and got an answer. Darina didn't go to the surface and got an answer. But Matheson didn't go, so he doesn't get one.
Nope.
The spacewalk isn't his answer? I don't know. I'm just like...
I would think the spacewalk would be his answer.
But Galen's going to have to wait a little longer for his answer to credits.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. We did it. We got through the episode. Okay. Well, do we even want to bother rating this one?
I don't know why I can't muster a care about these. Like, they've been...
These last couple episodes have been so bad.
And there's no, like, apocalypse box for me to have fun with. Like...
They are not fun episodes.
Yeah.
Not even bad fun.
There's not something totally ridiculous out there that I can just be like, haha, I love it.
Where's my fucking appearances and deceits and my guy fucking critiquing the uniforms, because that's the important thing to him, right?
He was pretty great. Yeah.
Where's my Minbari Rangers who are like dealing under the table for no reason at all?
Yeah.
You know, where's my Franklin or Lockley having a laugh? Like, even my Lady of the Bongwater, none of it. Just none of it.
Mm-hmm. We got weird shaped playing cards, and that was like our highlight.
Fucking weird shaped playing cards does not an entertaining episode make.
Right. It can't carry the whole show. Like, you got to have something else in there.
They weren't even that weird. They just had like a little side cut out.
Yeah. It's true.
Whatever we gave the last one. No guns.
Yeah.
No guns again.
No guns ×2.
Will it happen a third time? We'll find out when we watch the rules of the game. The Excalibur goes to Babylon 5 so that Gideon can meet with an ambassador for permission to go to a planet that might have technology to help Earth. But the ambassador refuses and Gideon is not going to accept it. And Ellerson runs into his ex-wife, who is in trouble with a loan shark. When he pays him off, he feels like she owes him more. Amph goes to great lengths to collect.
Amph?
Amph. It's period, capital ANF.
Huh. Yeah.
This is the worst episode description.
And it's so long. Like, okay.
Every other one's been like 10 words, and this is a fucking paragraph.
There's a lot of disbelief I will suspend for sci-fi. Like, there's a lot of things I will ignore and overlook and go ahead and say, yeah, okay. I will not accept that someone married Max Eilerson at any point. Was she drunk? Jesus. Ugh. Okay. Well, we got one more. We're going to make it.
We got one more. Hopefully we'll have a guest for this last one. Maybe that will cheer us up a little bit.
Oh, it always does.
I haven't gotten a confirmation on the recording schedule yet, so I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but Ryan from Yum Yum should be joining us for the next episode.
I would love that. I feel like he's got some shade he can throw at Max Eilerson real hard.
Oh, for sure. I guess we've got that to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, even if it's a bad episode, at least we'll get to spend an hour hanging with a friend.
Yes, exactly.
So, with all that said, we should probably say some thank yous to anyone who's made it this far.
Mm-hmm. If you did, we love you.
We do. Jeremy Siegel, we love you. Thank you so much for our theme music. We really appreciate the hell out of it. You can find more of Jeremy's work at jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com and on streaming services as Nuclear Jaguar.
And thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram for our podcast artwork.
We love you, Angry Duck Time Machine. And we love you, Aaron. Thanks so much for editing the podcast. Really appreciate the hell out of it.
Yeah, if anything, there's one person who made it to the end of this, Xhafer, and it's Aaron. So he's really doing the work, putting it in.
Yep.
And thanks, listener, for being here. Sorry that we didn't have some more entertaining material to work with on this one. Gosh.
I wish it was just worse.
So boring.
Like if it was just bad and not just boring, I'd be having a lot more fun with it.
Yeah. Even Aaron,
but here we are,
who is like a pretty generous, even keel, not hyperbolic person, when this one was over, was like, wow, that was boring.
Yeah. It's rough. Well, we'll see you next week, Internet.
Bye.